Let's check out some of the basics of the Vex VR site. This site might look a little familiar to some of you guys because you've seen things where you have these little blocks that you can move around and add to the other block and make things happen. There's a variety of coding sites that have this, and so that's what this left side is right over here. These are blocks that do things. The far left has some other menu items. They're colored. This one here is drivetrain, which is these blocks. This one is locks, this one is controls, sensing, operations, and some variables. Some of these get pretty high level, and eventually you'll use all of these, but that's what these menus do. They basically open up more things that you can do. Now, the idea behind the Vex builder site here is that you get to build actions that a robot would do. So you're basically programming a robot to do certain things to overcome some challenges or to accomplish certain goals. So let's take a look at what's on this page. Now, when you first log in, you'll notice that there's not a whole lot to it and not a whole lot of instructions. So the idea that I would give you, the first thing to do would be to click on tutorials, like that. And then you get a couple of these menus here. The best one is getting started. And it's important to watch this video. It's about a minute and a half, minute and 21 seconds long. If you watch this video, it will essentially show you enough to get you started. And so that's an important video to watch. I could also have you watch the video of naming and saving your project, but in fact I'll just explain how to do that in just a second. So strongly recommend clicking getting started and then watching this video right here. That's really important to do. So I do also suggest that you do name and save your project right away. At the very, very top, it says Vex Code Project. That's the default name. If I click that, then I can rename it, and I'll just rename this my name, Anderson, and then I'll click rename. And so I've got it renamed, but it's not saved. Now, Vex does not save your stuff. So if you were to close out of the screen after you do a lot of work, and then you realize, oh no, I didn't save it, you basically lost your work. So once the project is renamed, you click File, and then you click Save to your device. And this saves to your folder in your Chromebook that's going to say something about Vex, and then in there is a file that only opens up with this. So make sure you save your stuff. And then, of course, when you work on it, save it again before you close the page. That way, your stuff is there. So let's just take a quick look at some of the functionality of this. It's relatively basic. So I got my when started. This defaults to be the starting one. I'm going to grab this little guy here. It says drive forward for 200 millimeters, whatever. Then I'm going to make it turn right. Okay, then I'm going to go and drive forward again. And this time I'm going to drive forward for 300 millimeters. And then I'm going to do a rotation 90 degrees. And then I'm going to have it do the velocity change to 50%, which is half. And then it's going to drive forward for, let's go, 300 millimeters again. So this is my code. Looks great. However, how do I know that it works? The cool thing about the VR site here is that you can actually test your code with basically a real virtual robot. Where you do that is up at the top here. You click the little playground. Clicking playground, and it opens up by default a grid map. If I click this arrow, there's a couple different types of maps. I'll let you inspect those and see what they are. The grid map is where we start, and I can't resize the screen, but I can definitely expand it to be bigger. Yeah, that's good. We'll leave it like that. Very good. And now this is a default view. You kind of get a little side view of it. You can use your little mouse and move things around. I can zoom out or zoom in. I can also look at it from the very top, like that, with this little guy right here. This goes back to the side view. And then if I've done something and I want to restart something, I can just go ahead and click this, and this gets me back to my first view. So I've got my code here. This is my little robot. I found that it's kind of nice to look at it from the top because you can see how it's going. All the views are just fine. So let's kind of scoot this over a little bit here. So I'm ready to go. And how do I start it? There we go, right up there at the start button. So let's check it out. I'll click start. And the robot's going to go, and then it's going to turn, and then it's going to stop. So maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. What you're going to do is figure out by using this screen here where your code went right or wrong. So as you're working, you're definitely going to have both these screens open at least most of the time as you figure out how your code goes. So this is the basics of how everything works. There's a couple other buttons here. Stop is important. If you are letting your robot go, for example, I'll reset it there and click start. Maybe I think, oh no, you know what, I didn't want to do that. I can stop right here. Maybe I wanted to see where it stopped. Whatever reason you'd want to do that. That's why you would use that little stop button right there. And then share. If I click share, all that does is open or saves to my device a PDF file that has this code. So if you did want to save the code, but maybe not save it to your computer and give it to somebody else possibly, you could share it like that because it saves to your device a PDF file. So that's the basics. The main thing that you need to do is rename your project and then save your project so that you do not lose things as you go along. And then while you're playing around, kind of going through the first tutorials, you should figure out pretty quick how it works, how to check your problems, how to save things, how to do the more advanced things that we'll get into. You got to get started. And again, just before I go, make sure that you watch the tutorial video here. Going back here, watch this video first. A minute and 21 seconds will make things a lot easier for you. All right, good luck.